Well, hello everybody, this is Richard Chaplin from the Managing Partners Forum, and I'm really happy to be able to give you a guided tour to the marketplace. It's a community-based secure place for sector firms, their clients and suppliers to share business opportunities, and it's been developed around one very simple observation. Every firm is both a client and a supplier, and it requires suitable tools for both roles. So what are the buyer priorities? What are the things that the members of the Consultancy Procurement Council are telling us are things that are particularly important to them as buyers? Again, it's pretty clear: better project outcomes, increased efficiency, new connections, enhanced relationships, confidentiality and inspiration. And I think what the marketplace does is meets all those priorities. There's some words below which will give you a little bit more information, but there'll be a pack that you can get that you can read those in. There's also a very important dimension, which is the level of engagement. Are you going to be an occasional user, a managed user, an active user, or possibly a tailored user? And again, there's words below which indicate exactly what services come under each of those headings. What we'll do is go through a few slides and I'll show you, but if you bear those icons in mind, both the buyer priorities and also the engagement levels, then you'll see them recurring on each page. So take the first example. This is an occasional one, and basically it actually ticks three of the priorities, and this is a really where you can go and look up, search a directory of services, find ones that interest you, and if you want to be a bit more active, you can specify alerts so that you get given notification of new services. What might influence that as well? You have access to lots and lots of white papers, so you can actually tap in some great thought leadership from some key suppliers, and you can possibly also tap into some comments that you have seen, some of which will be anonymous, some of which may even have a referee that you can contact and talk to them about that supplier. So some ways that in an occasional world we help you there. And finally, if you want to respond to the client, so the supplier, you can basically send them a confidential document, an email, and we will make sure that it gets dropped by the administrators into their in tray. So there's various ways on an occasional basis you can engage with the marketplace. Let's move on now from the occasional to the managed, and this is really about managing relationships, which is pretty fundamental. A couple of priorities being met here, and this is about panels, where you can create a panel and you can then populate the panel with people who are either approved, preferred, or alternative, depending on how your own rating for that particular panel. And you can also use the lounge that we have built into the marketplace to talk to those panel members. It's a private place where you not only will be able to meet your existing connections and panelists, but probably new people as well, because it's an open space that anybody in the marketplace can go to. It's a fairly typical agenda to the right and the lounge guide to the left. I think the key point is really once a table is full, you can see the tables of 2, 4, and 6, then no one else can join. So you can have a private conversation with them, and there's actually not just the video screen, but also a whiteboard and private chat to help. So let's say, what else do you want to do? Well, sourcing needs. This is really where you're moving to the more active. This is where you're actually wanting to reach out to a group of suppliers, all of whom are peer approved, and that's pretty critical. And then you want to be able to share details of your particular thing. Now, this can be value-added services. It doesn't have to just to be technical services, and the same is true of supplier needs earlier. And supply services earlier, sorry. So what you have is put your information up, an email goes out to qualified suppliers, in other words, those who've indicated expertise in the area. They can apply, and then you process the application. How does that work? Well, you basically get an email to the effect that an application has been received, and then you go to the bottom screen, and then you can choose one of the 2 slots that are there. You can put your own slot in. Alternatively, on the right, you can reject the application. Assuming you want to meet them, you choose the appointment type and also how long in minutes that it can be. You can look at their comments and also add your own if you wish. So that's a fairly straightforward thing. And also that then flows through into your own calendar. So when you get an email, which is the one on the left to you, you can then click the download the ICS file that feeds into your Outlook. Alternatively, you have a separate appointment listing running within the marketplace, which is also available to you and to the supplier. And importantly for the supplier, that's where they can see your contact details, because up to now you've probably been anonymous. So let's move on finally to the last area, the final level of engagement, which is about projects and how you can optimize projects. Now, they can be private or they can be shared. Basically, you create the project, and then you will have applications, but they won't be to the project, they will be through the SOW, effectively the same thing, and then you will clear them. So that's very similar to the previous one. What is different is that you have the ability in projects to add rate card data, private rate card data, to specify how much time a particular project is likely to do, and to then actually create a cost comparison table to see which is the most cost effective option that you have. And you can also select suppliers to view the SOWs. There's a couple of ways you can do that. You can stick the SOW in the folder, or you can automate the process, and then you end up building a list, and obviously they then get notified that the SOW is there. They've been authorized to view the SOW. So that's selecting suppliers. Now, do you have to do all this yourself? Very busy? Probably not. So for organizations that lack the time or expertise to take full advantage, we've identified some approved suppliers, providers, and some typical MSP services so that you can actually engage. Independent oversight, that's really important. Obviously, people are very concerned about security. So I think there's 4 excellent people who have agreed to act as independent trustees. And I think perhaps most important, if you're a member of the partnering association or your firm has a member, it isn't always, then you can actually enjoy free unlimited use of the marketplace. Suppliers as well, as long as they're also a member of a partnering association and on the panel, and there's a modest fee that they ask to pay on a work secured basis, if you like. There's some extra slides in the pack, which I won't trouble you now, but that then leads us on to the final slide, which is if you're interested, please get in touch. There's a copy of the slide deck on that URL in the middle. And if you do decide to access the marketplace or to request access, then on the right, those are the fields that you will be asked to complete. So I'd like to thank you for your time and hope this presentation was interesting and helpful. Bye for now.